Good morning and welcome to Scaling Your Business, an introduction to RPO. This is going to be a 20 to 30 minutes presentation. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we'll get back to them at the end of the preso. So quick intros from us. My name is Roger Sullent and I'm the customer success director here at PRG. I've got 5 years experience of implementing and managing RPOs. To my left is Ben. Ben is our commercial director and has lots of experience working with RPOs and in the RPO world. And to his left is Michelle, head of marketing here at PRG, who also has loads of experience of working with Ben, RPOs, and dealing with that all important EVP and getting the very best for your RPOs from a marketing perspective. So I think you're in good hands. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of who we are as a business. So PRG is a group of recruitment consultancies that's made up of Panoramic, IO, Finitas, and Panoramic Care. We cover multi-sectors and currently we're 230 people. However, when I joined 5 years ago, we were only 50, and we're currently going on that scaling and growth phase ourselves as well. We've also recently been voted Fast Track Sunday Times Top 100. And also we've been voted in the Business Leaders Award as well. So again, evidencing our quality across RPO and talent solutions. Quick agenda. So we're going to cover a number of things here today, but first off is what is an RPO and what are the services and the key benefits? How does working with a rep partner actually work? How can we support your talent strategy process? Why we look into improving the candidate experience, and where we can add further value. I've mentioned it already, but the EVP and the stuff that Michelle does with her team is fantastic and adds real value across the candidate experience and attraction. So over the last 12 or 18 months, there's been lots of movement in the market and clients have found it really hard to grow. We've never ever seen salary increases where they are at the moment. It's the highest wage inflation since I've been in recruitment. Newer brands and businesses in the market have found it really hard to keep up with the Joneses. And there needs to be a flexible solution where you guys can really own your talent strategy, and an RPO solution is just that. So now I'm going to hand over to Ben. He's going to talk you through the what. So what is an RPO, Ben?
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, Roger. So in simple terms, it's recruitment process outsourcing, and it can mean different things to different people and different businesses. But what we're passionate about is taking some of the expertise and the service that has been historically been aimed at larger businesses and being able to apply that to smaller businesses. But as I say, recruitment process outsourcing, RPO, and it's the outsourcing of all or part of your recruitment to an external partner. So what does the service typically include? Well, as you can imagine, what could be appropriate for that really large multinational business may not be necessarily appropriate for a smaller business, but these are just some of the key things that's typically included in most services. So it's often the attraction, helping with the selection of candidates, but that full process management, helping build that excellent candidate experience, helping develop the employer brand. Providing that account management, so there's a key contact between the client and the partner. Often it includes the management of other agencies. So if the RPO, who usually have their own direct delivery capability, if they're unable to find candidates, then that can go out to the PSL. Typically, it also includes the things you'd expect in terms of around some reporting. It can often include full contractor management, and in some cases where there's a sufficient volume, it's appropriate to use some forms of technology like an applicant tracking system or an ATS. So what are the benefits of engaging with a recruitment process outsourcing business? Well, typically it's about building that relationship so that business really knows and understands your requirements, And that often means getting involved in resource planning, so knowing about vacancies before they've gone live, so they can start building talent pools. And so all that knowledge and understanding of your business typically seriously increases the time to hire, which is one of the things that people have been really struggling with when there's such competition for candidates. It's getting on the front foot and ensuring you know and understand what those requirements are before they start happening, so the groundwork can start happening. It often means quite a big saving of time for the business using an RPO, and that happens in sort of two areas really. One is the supplier management, so you're not having to go to multiple agencies with multiple requirements, having to brief people a number of times and then deal with the response from all those suppliers. But also in time saved for hiring managers by outsourcing some, significant chunks of the process, but also only seeing candidates that are appropriate for the role. So rather than working with a business that understands your requirements less, really getting under the skin of what's needed means that there is often significant savings in time for those people involved in the hiring process. But then there are other, benefits like reducing onboarding time, because again, we know the business knows your requirements, single point of invoicing, so there's can be some time saving for finance teams. But as well, one of the things we'll repeat throughout this presentation is about really best in class candidate experience and having that really good integrated relationships. So how does it work? So typically it falls into two sort of significant camps. One is project RPO, which is when a business has an immediate requirement often, and it's a clear, usually a short-term project, usually something that happens certainly within a 12-month period, often considerably quicker than that. And it's when there's been a scaling up of the need for people. Sometimes with businesses, that's because they've just had an investment and they know there is a significant number of people that are needed right away, and then that will tail off and they think they can manage things themselves ongoing. So that's one end of the spectrum. The other is providing a full RPO, and that's typically when a business outsources all of their recruitment on an ongoing basis. And often that typically ends up being at least 3 to 5 year relationships and contracts to reflect that, but that doesn't necessarily always have to be the case. So the service, typically includes candidate attraction, of which Michelle will talk more about later in the presentation, helping with the selection of candidates. And as I said, one of the key benefits of that is then the business spends less time seeing people. So that can really speed up the process. Recruitment administration, so all that stuff that can be very time consuming in terms of setting up interviews, ensuring feedback is provided to all the relevant people. That's typically included in the service. Often offer management and getting people to the stage of receiving a contract. And as I said previously, when appropriate, the use of technology around an applicant tracking system or ATS. So the structure can often look like this, where at the top there we've got the client. They typically then liaise on a daily basis, or depending on how much recruitment is going on, with an account manager. And that account manager is on or off site typically as much is required. It's sometimes appropriate, so the account manager will typically feed in turn to the consultants and the vertical market specialists, but sometimes it's appropriate there's that direct connection between the vertical market specialist and the client, so that will get facilitated. But one of the key things to make sure you get as part of any RPO service, of which again keep referring to this, but Michelle talked more about, is that access to marketing and helping build brand and your EVP. Then you really want access to a really good administration and compliance team, and then inevitably to ensure invoices are paid, there's connection to the finance and operation teams. So one of the things that we get asked about before people start working about an RPO is, what's it actually like working with an RPO, and what it should feel like is, that you're really offloading that burden of recruitment to a group of trusted experts that can really get to know and understand your business and your requirements. And so it should really feel like it's an offloading of some of the issues around recruitment to someone else who really does it for a living, day in, day out, and can really help you and your business. So in terms of what that's typically mean in practical terms, where we've helped smaller businesses, typically on a project basis, that's often 10 to 30 recruits per year. As I've said before, that has often happened as a result of either savings from organic growth or from an injection of capital. And therefore there's an immediate need, and we've supported that. For medium-sized clients, again, we've worked with a number of businesses, but one of the key ones that we've worked with required about 50 people over a 12-month period. Again, theirs was from taking investment and really wanting to grow and grow quickly. And then at the other end of the spectrum, we currently have some clients that we're working on up to sort of 50 live vacancies at any one time. But some of those started at the left-hand side of the screen, where they had very few people within their organization, had the investment to grow, and we've helped them achieve that, and now they're still recruiting at sort of up to 50 live vacancies per month. So one of the things when we often start working with businesses, and is one of the things that's talked about a lot at the moment, is sort of one-stage recruitment processes. One of the big challenges whenever we start working with a business is ensuring that they've got the right recruitment process in place. And often the processes have got drawn out over time, often for good reason, but certainly, we've reviewed some recently where there were 6 interview stages, and unsurprisingly, with that many stages, with the complete change in market dynamics recently, where candidates are in such high demand, candidates are in some cases are not only less willing to participate in a process which could see them going through 6 different stages of interviews, but they end up getting offered something, and so they start taking what's on the table. So one of the things that we do is really help businesses get the most appropriate, and other RPOs will do this as well, providing you're selecting the right one, but really help with getting that recruitment process as short as possible. And because we do pre-screening, that does mean that having the one-stage interview process, which lots of people have been hearing about, is realistic. But that is something that does need to be managed really effectively, because you still need to spend the time engaging that candidate, making sure they're bought into your business, not just about focusing on understanding their skills and experience, because otherwise they'll walk away from that one-stage interview process not knowing and understanding enough about your business. And then when they spend a bit more time with someone else, then that actually can be counterproductive to having the one-stage interview process. So I'm now going to hand over to Michelle, who's going to take us all through things EVP and Employer Brand.
Thank you, Ben. So a good place to start is probably addressing what EVP and Employer Brand actually mean. So starting with employee value proposition, aka EVP. In a nutshell, this is essentially everything that makes you a great employer. Your organization's mission, values, and culture, and everything else that gives employees a powerful reason to work for you. It's everything that your company can offer as an employer in exchange for all the skills and experience that your employees bring to the table. So this could include everything from EMI schemes and flexible working options to cycle to work, healthcare, and even fruit boxes in the office. Employer brand then is very simply how you're actually packaging this up and promoting it to the talent that you're looking to attract to your company. This is where an RPO and the employer brand elements it incorporates can really help to set you apart from your competition. So what does it actually include? As you can see, there is a huge range of elements that can impact your EVP and employer brand, and much of it you will actually already have in place anyway. With an RPO service owning all your candidate attraction, the service can incorporate many elements which will bring your EVP to life. We found that with many clients we've worked with, they have great EVPs in place, but to actually have the impact, it needs to deliver value and be used consistently across the whole candidate attraction experience. So on the screen are some of the elements an RPO can include, which I'll go through some brief examples of shortly and go into a bit more detail. But to summarize, we have branded advertising campaigns, which can be shared across social channels. In our case, we would share them across ours as well, which would be a network of over 40,000, I believe. And they can obviously be supported by pay-per-click campaigns so that they are seen by the most relevant audience for that campaign. We support and drive content marketing campaigns to bring your company to life, candidate attraction packs to understand the role and the company better. Client Spotlight allows our clients to get involved in a range of our events that we run, and featured employer pages and career sites allow that online presence to bring it all together. So on to a few examples. I'm hoping that the videos work, and we've had some issues in the past with Zoom, but if we have any issues, then I can send those examples out afterwards. But hopefully on the screen is a recent example for Jessie May's Chief Executive role, which was through PRG brand at Panoramic Associates. Created in-house, these serve to be shared across social media to attract talent, with video known to increase audience engagement by at least double. The assets are provided to our clients as well, so that you're also able to share them across your networks. And as mentioned, we can also incorporate pay-per-click campaigns. Those PPC campaigns will allow us to reach a really defined target audience, set really clear goals, call to actions, and allows us to actually measure success of that campaign as well. So to additionally support the campaign with Jessie May, we created a candidate attraction pack to bring to life the vision and values of the role, some snippets of which are on screen. So in order to create this, we'll liaise with the hiring manager of our client along with their marketing team to ensure that the assets are created in line with their brand guidelines. We then host the finished article online, along with the full application process, employee benefits, company structure, and in-depth information on the role itself. And then next for Jessie May, we created what we call a featured landing page, which is essentially a dedicated branded landing page which sits on our own website. This allows us to add a profile on the company, centralized links to all the roles, as well as the link through to the candidate attraction pack. The featured employer page will provide enhanced visibility alongside increased awareness and understanding of your employer brand, and is sent directly to candidates. And then I just wanted to then show you how these particular elements all come together in one single campaign. So as you can see, the branded advertising campaign is promoted on our social channels, linking through to the featured landing page, which is on screen. This then clicks through to the candidate attraction pack, which is hosted online so the user can get more information on the company and the role itself. And then clicking back through to the featured landing page, the user is then able to click through and easily apply for the role online. So that's that campaign. And I won't keep you too much longer with loads of examples, because obviously there's many elements that could be incorporated into promoting your employer brand. And we do work with you to establish what's best for the talent that you specifically are trying to attract. One of the key elements that play into this can be content marketing. And on the screen is another recent example of one that we've done with NHS Grampian. So it's engaging in customizable content, which can include a range of options that we can assist with, such as benefits of working for you, a day in the life of, employee profiles and testimonials, and career opportunities and training, to name a few. And again, they can all be hosted online and promoted across social media. client spotlight I mentioned previously. This is quite a unique one to PRG. And on screen is just a quick summary as PRG brand IO associates. This provides the opportunity for you to reach a new audience, be seen as a subject matter expert, and leading in the market, which obviously helps to enhance your employer brand, and becoming part of one of our market leading industry specific events, whether that be as a speaker, as a sponsor, a breakfast briefing host, or an interviewee, or even an interviewer. There's endless options on that one. And then the final example that I wanted to show you was the full microsite build. So the development, again, with this NHS Grampian, the development of a career site provides a fully branded candidate experience on a domain name of your choice to showcase your unique employer brand. The site will highlight why people should work for you, content that's been created, as we mentioned. The candidate attraction packs would be hosted on here, along with bringing together all of the other elements that we've gone through in one central place that can be linked to, again, across everyone's social media. So there's clearly a huge range of examples that I could go through, but I hope that's given you a good idea. Candidates are thinking about applications in the same way as they consider buying decisions. They want to be able to educate themselves about your company. They invest time in researching your company before deciding whether it's a good fit for them. So in summary, it gives candidates the ammunition they need to learn about your employer brand, what sets you apart from the competition, and plays a crucial role in their decision to apply. So that's EVP and Employer Brand, and I will now pass you back to Roger.
Thanks, guys. Hopefully that's really insightful to what an RPO is. We've covered a number of things there. You know, what is an RPO, when to look at your RPO strategy, why you might need an RPO, and how to implement and manage an RPO. So there's lots to take in, and like Michelle and Ben said, we're happy to answer any questions later on. There are a range of benefits that come with an RPO. My top three are the account management play, allowing you to crack on and do your day job. You can be trusted that the RPO solution is doing its work for you and finding you the talent. The reporting and analysis side, understanding what the market trends are, how you're tracking against your strategy is really important. And finally, the EVP play from Michelle. Having that candidate journey from start, whether that be the first call from a recruiter through to onboarding with your HR team, is really important. And if you get that right, that will go a long, long way to securing your talent strategy. Next up is, you know, there's a shopping list as long as your arm on how and what you can add in the RPO. You know, it can be as flexible as you want. I think that's the key thing. Understanding what you need for your business or your project is vital. And speaking with people like myself, Michelle, Ben, to understand that, and then implementing it is the key thing. Hopefully you now have a better understanding of what an RPO is, what you need to help to scale your business, what you need to help to scale your projects, and how the solution can best work with your needs. As mentioned, if you've got any questions, chuck them in the chat and we'll get those answered. But that's it from us, guys. Thank you very much. And yeah, any questions?
So, Rog, we anticipate. Ed, okay. So Ed has asked, am I tied into an RPO service? And the simple question is the contractual position can vary from RPO provider to RPO provider, and indeed what the service is that's required. So at one end of the spectrum, when working with extremely large clients, that there is a big implementation process, there's lots of technology used, then typically in the market, those are contracts that will be, you know, sort of 3 to 5 year contracts. At the other end of the spectrum, you know, project RPO doesn't need long binding contracts, and indeed we offer, you know, highly flexible solutions even when we're implementing a full RPO solution for some of our clients. That said, you know, what everyone anticipates is that you're building a long-term working relationship with each other. And that's where the benefit comes from, is that close understanding of subject matter experts in recruitment, getting to really know and understand the business and working really closely together. So the simple answer is there's a range of contractual scenarios out there, and it's about picking the one that best suits you, you and your business. And there are certainly providers out there that are highly rigid and won't offer flexibility, and then others like ourselves that will provide a whole range of flexibility. A couple of people have asked similar questions, I think, here, but about what happens if your RPO provider can't fill a role. On the assumption that you're working with a really skilled partner, what would happen if a role wasn't being filled for some reason is that really good open dialogue about the challenges of why it's not being filled. And you really need that open dialogue to find out whether compromises can be made. So, for instance, in fact, we're having some of these discussions this morning where a certain level of experience was difficult to find, yet we were able to provide graduates or more senior people. So you want to be able to work with a partner that can have those conversations with you. And also, it very much must be viewed as a collective way of approaching recruitment, rather than supplier and client, which is more typical in a contingent environment. That hopefully disappears when you start working really closely with an RPO provider. But what can also happen with some RPO providers is that they manage a second tier of other agencies that the role can be released to, so that there is another form of supply chain that's in place. So we've got another one about what volume of hiring needs would be suitable to discuss an RPO solution. So it really depends on exactly the service that's required, but at the simple end, then it's probably between sort of 5 and 10 roles that's appropriate to look at, doing a project RPO. There are clearly some providers that just won't consider that for those volumes because their processes don't allow. They insist on using and implementing applicant tracking systems and technology. But that just isn't necessary. You don't have to do those things. So, as I say, sort of 5 to 10 recruits in a relatively short period of time. So, sort of over a 3 to 6 month period is the sort of minimum end. One of the other sort of consistent ones is how you measure success of an RPO. Well, measurement of success, I think, comes in various forms, but you've really got to start off with, what is it you want from the service, and therefore ensuring that those measures are in place. Typically, it will involve, time to hire and the speed of hire. But then also the other things that are appropriate to measure are the sort of candidate to interview ratios, interview to offer ratios, offer to acceptance, acceptance to start. But because you're working with a business, over a long-term basis, it really opens up the opportunity to start measuring quality of hire as well. And so it's really useful to get feedback as a provider on how well those people are doing, because then if there are other things that need to be taken into consideration into the selection process for the next time that role is being hired for, then that can be fed back and worked into the processes. I think, unless I've missed something, yeah, I think we've covered all of the questions there. So as Roger's already said, really appreciate everyone for joining the session today. If you've got any further questions that you want to get in touch with us, our contact details are up on screen now. And clearly, if it's a service that you'd like to discuss with us and how it could work, then please do get in touch with either myself or Roger. But really appreciate everyone's time, and thank you very much.